Smackdown review for the September 26th episode of Smackdown. I'm Will. Brandon just got surgery, so I'll be doing the review today. I'm the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. Let's get right into this thing. Normally, we do sort of a big-time breakdown of the full show. I'm just going to keep my short and simple thoughts on everything that did take place today at Smackdown, because obviously I don't have Brandon to bounce ideas back and forth off of, but I wanted to make sure we get a good old-fashioned review because it was a good episode of Smackdown. Let's get right into it, huh? Paul Heyman, he started the show. Mr. Paul Heyman, he was just in the ring. We got a WrestlePalooza recap video, and then Paul was just standing in the ring, and he said, what do you want to talk about? As if he was Cody Rhodes, right? He said, do you want to talk about Seth? And the crowd started chanting for the OTC, so he said, I would talk about the OTC, but basically he ain't here, and I don't care about him. He talked about Braun Breaker. Do you want to talk about him? Or do you want to talk about the rumors of Mr. Brock Lesnar? And before he could acknowledge those rumors, because everybody was like, yes, please tell us what's going on with this man, Cody Rhodes comes out. Cody Rhodes says that he apologized for calling Paul Heyman a goon last week, and he does ask Paul to tell him about Brock Lesnar, but he says a really good line here, because he says, who am I even talking to right now? Am I talking to the Oracle, or am I talking to a wise man, or am I talking to the Advocate? You know, because obviously what is Paul Heyman right now if he's with Seth Rollins and he's with Brock Lesnar? Who is he, right? And that's when Paul just responded, well, you're talking to the GOAT. And I know why you want to talk about Brock Lesnar, because when Brock Lesnar isn't around, that means danger is around. But before he could, explain that point further, danger actually appeared because Braun and Bronson Reed did show up. And I actually like this part because Paul Heyman was like, you're actually more in danger now than even with Brock Lesnar being around. So basically good luck. And Cody wasn't scared. Cody was legit he tried to make a point to Braun and Bronson about don't trust Paul Heyman. But Cody was like, you want to square up? Let's do this. And he even attacks Braun and Bronson first, takes off his jacket. He starts wailing on him. But of course, Braun and Bronson are getting the advantage. That's where Randy Orton comes out to save the day. He helps Cody Rhodes push the Vision away. I think he RKOs Bronson Reed, and then Cody kind of arm tackles Braun Breaker over the top rope. This doesn't actually lead to anywhere for the episode. We don't get a match or anything per se. It's more of a, Paul Heyman is making sure that the Vision is trying to, get onto Cody Rhodes before Crown Jewel against his match with Seth Rollins. So they're trying to injure Cody, wear him down. That's what the heels do, right? To the faces before the big time match. I do like this. I will pop it. I would have liked for maybe a match, which sounds hypocritical because I'm the guy who's always like, well, we start every show the same way. We get a tag team segment and then we get a tag team main event. But when I saw Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton out there, I was kind of like, oh, that would be really fun if we got that match. So we didn't get that. It kind of led nowhere. I could see why you would give that a drop, but I had a lot of fun with it. And it just establishes that Seth Rollins is sending his goons after Cody Rhodes, trying to injure Cody before the big match at Crown Jewel. And that was kind of just that. We did move on to a number one contender tag team match, which was the Street Profits taking on Mello, Don't Miz. And just look at the four people who were in the match. I think Miz doesn't get enough time on the screen. Everybody always says that Mello doesn't get enough time on the screen, if I can talk. And then, of course, Montez and Dawkins for Street Profits are absolutely phenomenal. This match was absolutely phenomenal as well. It ended with Mello was going crazy, and he was going to go get his finishing move off onto Dawkins when Miz tagged himself in once again, trying to take the credit. But this time, Mello was like, you ain't doing that, Mr. Miz. I ain't going to allow it. And that led to the Miz actually getting taken out by the Street Profits. And Mello watched as Miz got pinned. So Mello could have broken it up. He's on the outside, but he lets the 1, 2, 3 happen right in front of his eyes. So looks like Mello and Miz are going to break up soon. I'm excited for this for multiple reasons. I do think that I want Miz to be in singles action, and I think Miz can really elevate Mello on the mic, or he's going to demand Mello elevate on the mic because that's how good Miz is on the mic. And then I like that, from the Street Profits angle, we're going to put them back with the Wyatt Six so that story can continue. I would have hated for there to be more Street Profits shenanigans happen, meaning the tease of the breakup. I would have hated that to happen in a match against Mello, Don't Miz, because that doesn't make any sense. So we get to do that with the Wyatt Six after. The Wyatt Six showed up after the match and stared them down. So I think this is overall a win. I love seeing these. I could see these four fight any day of the week, so I'll pop this as well. Throughout the night, we did get, the main event of tonight's episode is Tiffany Stratton defending against Jade and Nia for the WWE Championship. And throughout the night, we would get like Jade and we get Nia and we get Tiffany backstage, and every single one of them got ran up on by Stephanie Vaquer. So Stephanie would show up and basically just say, good luck. And each one, Tiffany, Jade, and Nia would all give their reasoning as to why they're going to win. So obviously that's there. And I just talked about how not getting enough screen time for Street Profits and Melo Don't Miss. Well, Julia, we all want her to wrestle more. They were in a good match tonight. Julia and Kiana James took on Mishin and B-Fab in a tag team match. This was actually pretty good. We had like a bet in the live stream today, youtube.com/CODWrestlePod. In our live stream, we were all like, oh, how long is this one going to last? And I think the line that we set as a group was like 5 minutes. This one ended up being like 10 or 12 minutes. They gave him a good amount of time here. Mishin looked great. She did like a missile drop kick to Julia off the table, announce table, which was really good. And then the match ended very clean. So like Kiana James she gets hit with a finishing move, but she bounces into the rope. Julia tags herself in, and then she just takes care of Mishin. She goes in there and hits the Northern Lights bomb onto Mishin. 1, 2, 3 gets the win. There was no Kiana James and Julia not being able to mash. There wasn't Kiana James looking like an idiot. I think that she actually looked spectacular in the match. So, I don't know if Julia is going to go on to face BFAP or Mishin. I kind of had the idea of like just triple threat it, or if you want Kiana James to join in via some sort of like, I don't know, falling out of the group at some point, you can do that as well. But I like that Julia was able to get the win here. She proves that she's the best out of all these women in the ring. A good like 10-minute match. Not much more we can say, right? We've been begging for WWE to give Julia more time. When she's given a good amount of time and she looks great and gets a good pin, I'm going to sit here and be like, that's a pop. We're all good, And then a really good, speaking of just women's tag teams in general, we got this little backstage segment with Charlexa, our tag team champions, Solruka and Zarya from NXT. They showed up and confronted them and said, hey, we want a tag team championship shot. And Charlotte and Alexa were like, look, you guys are great and awesome, but got to earn it. So that looks like we're going to get like Solruka on SmackDown in the tag team division, which would be spectacular. And it looks like we're going to aim them at Charlotte and Alexa. Yes, please. Any day of the week. I'm down for that. So please do that, WWE. Then a pretty good segment here. Drew McIntyre, after his match and loss at WrestlePalooza, where he tried to kick, Claymore kick Cody through the announce table. He hurt his foot. He's got a boot on now. He comes out in a boot. And they were in Orlando, Florida tonight. So they were in the building where the Thunderdome existed during the COVID era, right? And Drew said that he basically had a ton of moments in the Thunderdome in front of a bunch of screens. And he was excited about showing up to Orlando tonight in front of actual people with the championship. But WWE's corrupted by Cody Rhodes. It's rigged, basically. He mentioned how in the WrestlePalooza match, the ref costed him the win, but he doesn't blame the refs. He blames Cody Rhodes for rigging the system. Because WWE is just a big rigged system for Cody Rhodes, is basically what Drew McIntyre was trying to say. And Nick Aldis actually came out and defended him. He was like, look, Drew, I can kind of see why you're mad for the WrestlePalooza ref thing. Like, I get it. Like, you're probably right about that. You shouldn't have done it. But, like, it wasn't your day, bro. This is wrestling. Like, this is what happens. And he basically told Drew McIntyre to suck it up. And he even called out his boot. He's like, you were checked out by the WWE medical staff, and they didn't put a boot on you. So I don't know why you're walking in your boot. And Drew starts to get pissed. Nick just leaves. But Drew starts to yell when Jacob Fatu's music hits. I mean, Jacob Fatu, we haven't seen him in weeks. A lot of people were saying he was getting unpushed, whatever the hell that means. But he comes out, and he just rips that mic from Drew. And he starts talking. He does the whole coast to coast. He even said, stop bitching to him. He says, sit your peg leg ass down. And Drew tries to talk again, but Jacob Fatu rips the mic again, and Drew gets pissed, and Glasgow kisses him. But Fatu ends up getting the best of him. So Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu look to be feuding next up for Drew. I'm guessing that this is what we're going to kind of do while Cody's doing the Seth Rollins thing. And then we'll turn, we'll full circle around after Crown Jewel. But like, hell yeah, man. Jacob Fatu being anywhere near the main title scene, I would classify this as him being as close to the main title scene as he's gotten. If you want to run Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu for a number one contendership for Cody Rhodes WWE Championship, Sign me up for that, man. I mean, this one little back and forth between the two of them, I mean, this is going to be awesome. I was not expecting Jacob Fatu to come out and be Drew McIntyre's opponent after WrestlePalooza, but like I saw it and it was magic in the ring the second that they started talking and yelling at each other. That is probably going to be my most anticipated feud on SmackDown for the coming weeks. So popping the hell out of that, man. That was great. We would get a JC Mateo MFT promo package. So last week it was Tonga Loa. This week it's JC Mateo. MFT, man, they're going to slowly reintroduce themselves. I don't know where they're going to fit in on this SmackDown thing. Then we would get something very cool. Sami Zayn, open challenge. We're in Florida. Everybody's talking. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? The last 3 weeks for the open challenge, we knew his opponent before the match started, right? Before the Sammy got in the ring. So there wasn't any like, who's it going to be? This week we finally got a who's it going to be? Turned out to be Javon Evans of NXT. Bouncy. Dude put on a show. I mean, this dude killed it in his debut. And props to Sami Zayn. He's now 4 for 4 in these open challenge matches. 4 for 4. If you watched our stuff, or if you've watched our stuff in the past, you know how critical we are of Sami Zayn. And during these matches, he does look like super Sami Zayn at times, so I understand why people get mad at that. But 4 for 4, 4.5 star to 5-star matches, just smack dab in the middle of SmackDown every week. I can't hate on this at all. I think it's spectacular. It just adds life to SmackDown Weekly. The crowd in Orlando with NXT being there, they all knew Javon Evans, and they were on their feet for the entirety of this match. Javon looked great. He got this huge suicide dive. He was showing off that athleticism to the people in that arena that don't watch NXT. He now looks like an absolute star, right? It's incredible. He doesn't get the win. He did a bunch of stuff. I'm glossing over this match. I mean, he hit the OG cutter that looked insane. Looked like he was 50 feet in the air. He hit a top rope Frankensteiner better than Braun Breaker hits a top rope Frankensteiner. But eventually he goes for a top rope maneuver again. Sammy moves out of the way. Javon pops up perfectly into the corner. Haluva kick. Blue Thunder Bomb, which it's funny that he heard. Sami Zayn obviously heard the critiques about the Blue Thunder Bomb because he's now using it as a finish. 1, 2, 3. He beats Javon Evans, but man, oh man, this was as good as you can ask for, in my opinion, for a midway through SmackDown match. Javon Evans looks like an absolute star here. I mean, if they're doing these as sort of like tryouts for like testing the water on like who's ready for the call up, Javon Evans passed with flying colors tonight. Javon is ready for SmackDown Raw scene. It was awesome. I have no notes, popping the hell out of it, man. We would get a little weird. Damian Priest walked up to Kit backstage, and Kit's now doing this like gimmick where he's like calling out toxic masculinity to Damian. And so he gets in Damian's face. He's in a wheelchair from last week because Damian put him through the wall, right? And so he's like, you could have destroyed me, and you're just such a toxic man. And he gets in Damian's face again, and Damian freaking puts him through. He hits him again, right? He hits him again. He falls over the wheelchair, and Damian says, bitches be tripping. So it was a corny little sequence here. But then Aleister Black shows up behind Damian Priest and gives him a black mass kick and basically says happy birthday because it's Damian Priest's birthday. I like the Damian Priest and Aleister Black feud. It just feels like it's kind of doing nothing and going nowhere. I think if they full sent this and we were seeing these guys in the ring weekly, almost to a level of like what Carmelo and Andrade did a year ago or however long ago that was, where they just had like a random 7-game series. I think you could do that with Damian Priest and Aleister Black and it'd be 10 times better than what we're getting now. And when it comes to Kit Wilson and his new toxic masculinity character, I don't know about that. I'm going to drop all of this. This was definitely to me not a good part of the night. But we get to our main event. God, I wish this went differently. Not for the winner. I like the winner here. So WWE Championship, Tiff versus Nia versus Jade. And immediately Nia established herself as the tree that needed cutting down throughout the match. Like her and Jade would, come face to face multiple times throughout the match, and Jade just could not get her down, right? So they have a really good dynamic there where Jade is this strengths powerhouse, but Nia is the powerhouse within this match. And then Tiffy is just Tiffy, right? She's the athletic, phenomenal mastermind of the match. She did absolutely great here. There was even a spot where like Tiff did a swanton bomb onto Nia, and then the second she got up, Jade super kicked her, and Tiffany did the Shawn Michaels where she falls back onto Nia and gets the 1-2 ooh there. I really like that callback. But things get heated and very at the end of this match. So we go to the outside of the ring, right? Or Jade hits the Jaded on Tiff. No one's kicked out of Jaded, right? So, oh my God, she's going to win the match. Well, Nia pulls the ref out of the ring, and Jade meets her outside on the ring. And Jade wants to put Nia through the table, but Nia ends up sending Jade into the staircase, which splits her open right above the eye, and Jade's leaking. And you can hear them, because the cameras are so close, you can hear them kind of frantic about it. I don't know what's going on, but you can hear them kind of frantically talking. But Jade's still able to hit a Samoan drop onto Nia on the stairs. And then things get a little weird. So Tiffany is on the outside of the ring because she rolled out after getting Jaded. Nia is selling the stair, but we have like 4 minutes left on the show. And so the ref is frantically trying to clean off Jade's eye because it's leaking down her face. And this leads to like weird camera angle where we're looking at an empty ring. Well, eventually Jade gets into the ring with Nia, who's just up after taking the Samoan drop. So we're already like, what are we doing here? Right? But Nia rushes at Jade. Jade's able to hit the Eye of the Storm on Nia. Crazy feat, right? That's amazing. She's strong as can be. Goes for the pin, gets the 1-2, but Nia kicks out. Nia kicks out of the Eye of the Storm. But then right after she kicks out, Tiffany comes and breaks up the pin. So right here, you're going, oh, is Tiffany late? What's going on here? Was Tiffany supposed to break that pin up? Then Tiffany goes for the pin. So she broke the pin after Nia already kicked out. But she drop kicks Jade to where Jade rolls out of the ring. And that means that Tiff lands on Nia. So she breaks up the pin and lands on Nia for the pin. And gets the 1-2. Nia's just laying there. Nia's done. And the ref pulls her arm on the pin at 2 when Nia is out. Like there's no kick out or anything. And Nia, because the camera's right freaking there, you can see Nia turn and yell at the ref. And it was like count the pin moment. And Tiffany's trying to sell like this, oh my God, she kicked out. So Tiffany's selling the kick out. Nia's wanting the pin. The ref doesn't know what she's doing. Jade's on the outside. So everything's already a jumbled mess. And it takes probably 20 seconds for anybody to have the state of mind to be like, okay, let's just take us home. So eventually Tiff just rolls Nia over a little bit and hits the moonsault 1, 2, 3 and gets the win. So Tiffany gets the win over Nia and Jade, in which was a great match until the last minute or so, where it became an absolute botch fest, which I don't like using that word, right? Botches happen. Don't knock it if I don't even know what to say. Like I'm stuttering over it's hard to talk about how the end of this match went. They were having a great match. These three are absolutely phenomenal. And the takeaway of a main event SmackDown championship match is going to unfortunately be the ending and the disgruntled mess that it was. I do think that Tiffany Stratton was the right winner here. I don't think that Jade is quite ready yet for that championship. And then Nia, we've seen multiple times, and her winning over Tiffany would just feel like going back to the basics. It wouldn't feel right. So I'm very excited that Tiffany Stratton gets the win here. We need to move her on to bigger and better things on SmackDown, better feuds. We need to get her new opponents as is. But yeah, I wish the ending of the match went better, but I am personally very satisfied with the winner. I wanted Tiffany to win. I think Tiffany should win, and I'm glad that she did win. After the match, we would get Stephanie Vaquer coming out. She does the stare down to Tiff because at Crown Jewel, it's now official. Tiffany will be taking on Stephanie Vaquer. My immediate reaction to this is that it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm glad that this is the match that they went with. That's one of the reasons why I wanted Tiffany to win, was specifically so we could get this match of Tiffany versus Stephanie Vaquer at Crown Jewel. I think it has potential to be match of the night. It's going to be spectacular. Gut feeling when it comes to who should win, I'm going to go ahead and probably say Steph, just because Tiffany kind of doesn't have anything on SmackDown to do anyways. She's now beaten Jade multiple times, beaten Nia multiple times, so there's really nothing to do there. She hasn't taken a pin in forever, so I feel like Stephanie Vaquer needs more of the boost to it, right? With that Raw scene when you have your Rheas of the world and your EOs. I feel like Steph kind of needs that backing right now. She doesn't need to get pinned, so early predictions are that Steph wins, but I'm just extremely excited for the match at Crown Jewel. I think it's going to be absolutely spectacular. That said, I will give this main event a drop. You can't, it took the breath out of the stadium. I mean, nobody knew what was happening. It was truly that bad. Very unfortunate. I'm not sitting here blaming anybody, but yeah, that was ugly. So overall, though, I give this SmackDown a pop. I think it was absolutely great. I think WWE had a fantastic week after what was a terrible WrestlePalooza. Wrestlepalooza. So I'm giving them props on that. You know, if they could have booked a mediocre Raw, NXT, and SmackDown after WrestlePalooza, and it could have really kept stinging. But Raw was fantastic. NXT, the ending of NXT was amazing. And the ending of SmackDown was bad, but 3/4 of that show was really, really good tonight. So it was really good stuff. A great week at WWE. I love it. But thank you guys for stopping by the live stream, especially tonight because I was solo. That felt really good having everybody there. YouTube.com/COD WrestlePod. And then for everything else, it's at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. We have a link tree in our bio to take you everywhere, including all of our social media. So go ahead, like, follow, subscribe, share all those. We love you for it. But I'm Will. I'm missing Brandon. He'll be back Monday. Cousins Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.